Objection? Hello everybody, my name is Meisterbloo, and today I took a look at the first episode of逆転裁判, also known as Ace Attorney. A little disclaimer before I even continue talking about this episode is that I have never played any of the Ace Attorney games. I know, it's horrible, I apologize. I have read a little bit of a manga that they made, I don't know how canon that is, but I have read a little bit of a manga, and I've played games similar to it, but I have never played Ace Attorney. I apologize. That being said, I really liked this episode of the show. It felt really fun. It had a lot of elements where I'm watching it and I think, that's gotta be from the game. That has to be something that happens in the game. And it was just chock full of that, and it felt really fun. It felt like a Saturday morning anime courtroom drama kind of thing. Like something that you'd see playing after Ultimate Muscle or whatnot when you were younger. The story of this episode follows Phoenix Wright, or Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, in his first courtroom case as a defense attorney. And he has to help his friend prove that he is not guilty in the murder of his former model girlfriend. And thankfully, this doesn't have one of my least favorite things that a lot of anime do. This doesn't end episode 1 on a cliffhanger. I thought when I first saw like the episode going through and we got to the courtroom, I'm like, this is gonna probably lead into like a suspenseful cliffhanger. We're gonna find out whether or not he's guilty or not in the next episode. Thankfully, they don't do that. They get this whole first case settled in one episode, and it doesn't feel rushed at all. Animation-wise, it's a little weird considering that the backdrops and all the scenery in every place they go to is way detailed, like hugely detailed, and then the characters themselves, while they don't look bad, they do kind of stand out for not being even close to on par with the locations and the backgrounds, so that is a little jarring at first, but eventually you drop out of that and don't really care too much. The music, I don't know if this is the soundtrack of the video game. If it is, then it has a very poppy soundtrack, and it's really lively and just fun, and it sounds really nice. It's really nice on the ears. It's nothing too like dramatic, and it's nothing too like serious, but it's also not overly like silly. It has some moments where it gets silly when the characters get silly, but other than that, it has this like light-hearted theme to it, which is really weird given the subject matter of this first episode. The OP was incredibly catchy. It's a Japanese boy band. I don't know which one it is. I don't care which one it is. It was really catchy, and the opening cinematics were just hilarious. Some of them got really funny. Like, there's a moment where I'm assuming it's Phoenix Wright's rival of a character because he's wearing a red suit, and they both, like, have this moment where they look at each other, and all of a sudden they lift up their arms, and, like, there's a chain connecting their arms, and then it, like, rises up, and they're both on different sides of the justice scale. Really silly opening, but it did cut off really suddenly. I didn't think it was gonna end, and then all of a sudden, bam, we're into the show. So that was a little jarring, considering I had a lot of fun watching the OP. And coming from somebody who doesn't know anything about the character, really, I didn't expect Phoenix Wright to be what he ended up being. Every time I saw him, I figured like, oh, he's an attorney and whatnot. He's probably super serious detective attorney guy and detective attorney guy, and he's probably just like going in places, finding out whether or not the clues match and whatnot, finding the contradictions, and there you have it. And they kind of played on that a little bit. They made him kind of serious until it was his turn to speak in court, and then you find out that he is just a big goof. He is just a big goofy goober. A really neat effect, which I'm pretty sure has to do with the video game, it has to be part of the video game, is that when things are being said that might be contradictory to each other, you see when Phoenix is like thinking about when the person's saying it, you see like the words flow from the person and into his head, and it's really cool because that also, if you're not able to catch it, it also makes you think, is there something there? Does that have to do with something? And I honestly felt that if this is how the games work, I might be pretty good at the games because I figured out like what clues there were connecting the murderer to the case and everything. I figured that out pretty early on, so maybe they were just giving you an easier one at episode 1, but I like to think positively. And then for two things that I really loved in this episode is number 1, a witness is called in against Phoenix Wright's friend. And this guy is just the happy mask salesman. That's when you see this man, You are like, that is the Happy Mask salesman, and you can't convince me otherwise. Looks just like him, has the same creepy smile, the same like close-eyed creepy smile. Although he has a dot on his forehead, I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe that's something in Japan, I don't know. I know that that's something in some Indian cultures, but I have no idea. And then, of course, the pose. The Ace Attorney infamous objection pose. They had so much fun putting that together. They made it the biggest thing in this entire episode, so much so that I'm pretty sure it blew some of the hair off of the witness's head. That was how intense it was for this objection. The words like smashed into the screen as he said it, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And it was like, if you're like me and you've never played the games, you know about, like, this is like all you know about Ace Attorney is the objection and how like over dramatic it is for everybody, and it was nothing short of that. So yes, very, very, very fun first episode for this show. I am definitely going to be watching more of it. I have a lot of my friends who played the games, and 2 of them actually didn't even know that the show was coming out, so they're happy that I've told them about that. So I will of course leave a link to where you can stream it below, and until next time everybody, peace out.